These are few interview questions that can definitely help you in your upcoming interview. So let's get started. So the first question is, can we use TD and TR in lightning record edit form? Now this is a very common question. First of all, let me explain you what is the reason you will use TD and TR in lightning record edit form. So let's say if you want to build a table, editable table, surely you can build it using lightning data table. But the problem here is if you want to bring the data from two different objects, that's where the lightning data table fails. And that's where you have to build a custom table. Now usually what people do is that they try to build the table using TD, TR, TH, all this stuff, right? Building a very complex table then. Now the problem with this is, let's say if you want to bring the data from two different objects, then you have to particularly create a complete matrix, and then based on the values of the matrix you have to map the values. So let's say you were able to successfully save the data, but while reload it will be very difficult for you to bring back the data inside the form that you have created or inside the table that you have created. Now one of the solution of this is that you can use lightning record edit form. The advantage of using the lightning record edit form is that, let's say you can create table using lightning record edit form, and once you create the table using lightning record edit form, what basically you can do is that by just passing the id you can make this edit work automatically. The values will be visible to you. So that is the benefit of using lightning record edit form. But if you are creating a table, you also need a table header. So what people tend to do is they basically try to create a table, and inside that table they will try to use the lightning record edit form. Now the problem is that if you are trying to use TD and TR inside the lightning record edit form, that's where the lightning record edit form fails. The reason is because it has its own styling. So if you are including TD and TR, what it's going to consider it as a normal text. Instead of actually table data and table row, it will just think it's just a normal text. And that's where the lightning record edit form fails. So answer is, we cannot use TD and TR in lightning record edit form. If you still wish to use it, you can create you can create specific divs, and in the specific divs you have to apply css, and then you can build a table, but you cannot use td and tr in lightning record edit form. So this is one of the limitation of using the lightning record edit form in lwc. So let's move to the next question, is that on reload of the page the values from the input box gets disappeared. How can we retain them? So this again was asked to me in my interview. So basically this question is like, let's say you have a particular form, let's say you have contact us form. Now if user fills up that contact us form, like he fills up name, email, phone number, everything, right? And somehow by mistake he reloads the page. The problem is, let's say if the form is very big, values will get vanished, right? If values get vanished, he has to go and completely fill up the form again. So that's a problem, right? So is there any way we can store the values, or we can avoid disappear, like we can hold the values somehow? How can we retain them? So one of the way is to store the data within the cache. Now to store the data within the cache, we can use window dot set storage item. So pardon my spellings, but just get the like set item. Okay, so I mean storage item dot set item. Now here you can create specific values, like let's say data of customer, right? You have created a cache, or you can say that you are setting the data inside the storage, and you can set this dot name. Let's say if user has populated his name, okay, you can store the data of you can store his name inside this variable, which is of session variable. Now, if you are storing the data within the session, there are too many restrictions for it. What do I mean by that is, if you're trying to store the data within the cache, you have to take care that when in what places you have to empty the cache. For an example, let's say I fill up the form, I reload it, and because of the set storage item, and if you want to get the value of this, like let's say I've stored the name, right? If I want to get this particular value back, you can use window.storage set storage get item. Okay, and you can pass data of customer. Automatically you will get the name of the customer. So basically you can hold the value, you can store the value like this, and you can get the value like this. Now the problem is that, let's say you have reloaded the page. Now as soon as you reload the page, the value are going to be staying as you have stored it within the cache. Now if you have stored within the cache, values are storing, that's totally fine. But when you click on save, make sure that you clear the values of this session. Okay, the values of the session must be cleared, or else what will happen is, let's say one form was filled. Again, if he tries to fill the form, again the values will be pre-populated. So keep these things in mind that you have to empty the cache. Number two is, if you're clicking on cancel button, in that case is also you have to empty the cache, because if you click on cancel and if I again click on new, the value should not be pre-populated, right? So that's the reason why you have to empty the cache in these conditions. And one of the most important thing is that if you are holding very sensitive data, it's not recommended to use it this way. Okay, do not store it within the session. Do not store it. Okay, for an example, if you're doing some kind of integration, do not store such kind of data within your session, right? The key, the whatever token and all these things, you should not store it. You should not, like, you should avoid storing this kind of values. So now, before moving to the last question, if you're not feeling confident enough before going to any of the interview, you can have one-to-one mock interview with me, which will definitely increase your confidence. Now you can connect with me by clicking the top met link below. So let's move to the last question, that how can we override the SLDS in LWC? So this is the most asked interview. I have been to 5 interviews till this point. I've cracked all of them, and this was the most like almost all the interviews asked me this question. Now, simpler answer to this is, what you can do is you can create a static resource. Okay, basically what you can do is you can create a static resource. Now, once you create the static resource, you write the CSS. Okay, you write the CSS file inside it. Whatever you CSS, what you want to write, you can write it. Once that is done, you inside the JS of your LWC. Okay, you have to import the load style first. Okay, as soon as you import the load style, then you have to import the static resource. Static resource, yeah. Once you have imported the static resource and the load style, on the connected callback, okay, you have to, what you have to do is you have to override, you have to use this load cell function, okay, load cell that you have created, and you have to completely override the CSS. So in simple words, if you want to override the CSS inside the LWC, SLDS CSS inside the LWC, you have to create a static resource, you have to import that static resource, and inside the connected callback using load cell, you have to completely replace the CSS. So this was all about the interview questions that I had to discuss in this video. If you found this video helpful, I request you to please like this video and subscribe to my channel.